But yeah, when I first, got the call, there was a way that we could have fixed, help, maybe kept them on the tour or whatever. I don't know. I hate not being able to say what it is. It didn't work out. And then ultimately they dropped. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. What the fuck do I do? And I'm just sitting here like, okay, I could ask Suffocation to headline, right? That would be the easiest for sure. And like I co-book Morbid Angel with Dan DeVita, works at TKO. So I obviously call him first. And he's like, just go ask agents, managers, just hit up everyone and just see if there's somebody. And I'm like, all right. And after that call, I'm pretty sure I just like sat here and I was like, I'm going to hit up David Vincent's wife, Suzanne. She like pretty much manages I Am Morbid in a sense. And I'm just going to ask her.
Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians, talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. I hope you had an amazing week. I most certainly did. This Vox and Hops episode is presented by Heavy Montreal. Heavy Montreal are Montreal's premier metal promoter. They put on a bunch of amazing metal shows all year long here in Montreal. And trust me when I say this, if you are ever in Montreal and you would love to go see a great metal show, well, I can guarantee you that Heavy Montreal will have you covered. I'm beyond stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. This week on the podcast, I'm very stoked to be with Daniel DeFonce, the man behind Devastation on the Nation. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox and Hops, episode number 478.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm very, very stoked to be back with Daniel DeFonce of TKO Booking. He's also the man behind Devastation on the Nation. We first met in 2017 when Cryptopsy was headlining Devastation on the Nation, doing None So Vile in its entirety, where we played a Maryland Death Fest on that run, which was not a part of Devastation on the Nation, but was a pinnacle show in my career as Cryptopsy's vocalist. I say that all the time, and I do mean it, because I finally felt that the extreme metal crowd finally accepted me as the new singer of Cryptopsy after over 15 years at that point. Long intro just to say, Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Definitely not as stressed as I was.
I am very impressed, and I think that the entire global metal community is very impressed with what you pulled off. Devastation on the Nation is coming up, or is in progress at the point of people listening to this episode. It started on November 15th and is running all the way until December 14th, all across the United States. And the original headliner about 3 weeks ago, sadly had to pull out of the tour, could not be a part of it. I'm talking about Morbid Angel, of course. And then you pulled a rabbit out of a hat, out of your ass, however you want to say.
Somewhere.
And you replaced them with I Am Morbid, which is the best replacement you could have done. We'll build up to this whole stressful part of everything, but it's Vox and Hops, where I hang out with my metal friends, talk about life and music while sharing killer craft beers. But it's the middle of the afternoon, and you drank a little bit yesterday, and you don't feel like having a beer. So what are you drinking right now?
I am drinking a sparkling watermelon Celsius.
Ooh, I've seen these things, these Celsius. It's good for your brain, I've heard.
I guess. I like the taste of it, and it gives me a little bit of energy.
That's what I heard.
Usually drink them before going to the gym.
Oh,
or on my
okay.
way to the gym, I will.
Well, this is basically going to the gym with me.
Yeah. I was like, let me have one. Make me a little more talkative.
Oh, hell yes. I was on the road with Carnifex, and they had some in the fridge, which is how I figured that out. On my side, I'm drinking something I found in my cupboard that I've had for a while, and I thought it was cool, and I was like, why not have a little tea, because it's midday here in Montreal on a Monday. This is Cradle of Filth's collab with Pitch Black North. It's a proper English black tea for the blood of life. It's black tea, and Pitch Black North is cool. They're sort of a band now, which is cool, and I'm still on the fence. I don't even know if they still make tea, but I'm drinking this one. I hope they still do, because it was fucking cool.
I think he does.
Dominic's super fucking cool, and that band is cool, so go check out Pitch Black North, the band too. Satanic Tea Co. Satanic tea. I don't know. I think it's confusing for the brand, but whatever. I'm drinking it out of my very cool Thirsty Thursday Vox and Hops mug.
Oh, I love that.
Cheers to you. And let's just talk Devastation on the Nation. I loved my experience. I loved having you there. I sponsored it. I feel like I presented it before too. Trying to remember everything that went down. We did Rotting Christ, Bork Nagar.
Yeah.
Abigail Williams, Vale of Nath. I'm forgetting one band, Storm Ruler.
Storm Ruler, yes. That was the first one you sponsored because you didn't do the one before that. That's right. And that one I had to move twice from 2020 to 2021, then to 2022. That was fun.
And then you took a break in 2023, I want to say.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I wanted to take a break. And this is what I've told a lot of people is like, I'll only do the tour if I really feel good about the lineup. Like, it just has to make sense. I don't want it to be mediocre. No one wants it to be mediocre. And I don't see why the brand has to happen every year, also.
That's that's very, very smart right there. If it's not going to respect the brand and everything they've built it up to be, why just put it out there just for the sake of having your tour happen?
No point. I don't want to do that. And because it is like, there's a lot that goes into it. And also I just love the brand and what it's become, especially now. I mean, I guess like when we kind of, we got the new artwork and everything like that, it really like made it more fresh for me and more exciting because I love stuff like that. I love like great artwork, especially hand-drawn stuff. Don't worry, none of it's AI.
No, it's all drawn by, I want to say his name is Seelan. Am I crazy?
Kalen?
There you go.
Kalen, I think. I met him at Incarceration Fest in Ohio this year. He's really fucking nice. Very, very talented. I mean, I just hit him up out of the blue and I was like, hey, I really want to get a new logo and just all new artwork all around. And he was way into it right away. And he's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I had a couple ideas. Yeah. But I was like, I trust you and like what you think would be awesome. I'm like, because I love all like majority of the stuff he's made. I really think it's great. And he came back with like a rough sketch and I'm like, there you go. And he just ran with it. I mean,
did you whisper the lineup into his ear to like give him some sort of vibe? Like what's the brand identity? Because Devastation has always been primarily death metal focused.
For the most part, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had Aborted one year. I mean, they're death metal, but we had, Ingested on it. I mean, they lean deathcore, death metal, slam or whatever. But it's always been, mostly death metal. Rotting Christ was a little more black metal, I guess. But, I love that lineup as well. I'm a big Rotting Christ fan.
They won me over that night when I watched them in Montreal. I was like, and I've said this story before. I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but no disrespect to Rotting Christ, okay? They would start their songs and I would be like, really? This is what the song is? And then by the end of the song, I was like, man, that was a hit. Yeah.
And they're great live. They just sound so good, bro.
Super good. And those, the young guitarists and bassists are assassins.
Oh, they're great.
One of these like young kid assassins that are just, they're so good.
They're amazing, dude. And same with Bork Nagar. Great fucking band.
Oh, yeah. I love them. I saw them in Mexico a year ago. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So good. I can't believe it was a year ago already. Unbelievable time. Really? Time goes, Dan.
Dude, time goes, man. And I'm already thinking about like, what the hell am I going to do next year for the tour?
I feel like you sort of have to. So you started this. What is how many iterations is the word? How many iterations?
This is 7.
This is the 7th edition.
Yeah, I think it's technically the 7th, right?
Okay,
yeah,
with all the pandemic,
first one,
everything.
Right. Yeah. And like the first one I ever did, it was just a name of a tour. And it was back in, I forget what year it was. I got to go look again, but it was a deathcore lineup. It was King Conquer. Who else was on it? Oh my God, I'm trying. Last 10 Seconds of Life, I think, was on it, and a few others. And Chris, the drummer of King Conquer, who's the drummer of Body Snatcher now. Sorry, death metal fans. I know you hate deathcore. It's okay. You guys can.
It's okay. Deathcore fills the rooms, people.
It's all right. Yeah. He's the drummer of Body Snatcher now, but he was the one that came up with the name. I'm pretty positive. Or we were talking about like, what do we call the tour? And we just kept going back and forth, and this is what we landed on. And then years later, I start 2015 with Origin and Crisian and Aeon, and that was like the first real
from the ground up built as Devastation on the Nation.
Yeah. So I was like trying to figure out like what the hell did I? Because I wanted to do like a branded tour, because you see Summer Slaughter and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I want something like that.
Mm-hmm. And you do. And your lineup definitely crushed the aforementioned branded tour you just mentioned. But
I still have a lot of respect for that brand. I think it's great.
I'm excited to see where they come back next year. I want to see what they pull.
Me too.
Creating a lineup that's worth it, as you mentioned before.
and I don't think, we need 10 bands either. I don't think we need 8.
I don't think fans want
6. Yeah.
10
6
bands.
is like my max. The only time I did more than 6 was the aborted year. Or was it you?
Maybe it was
it Cryptopsy year?
I can't remember.
Maybe it was too.
Yeah.
I know with the aborted year we did 7.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we did 7 with you guys too.
It was a great experience. We had a lot of fun. This year's lineup is just a banger. I Am Morbid, Suffocation, Uada, Motiferum, Fulci, and Noel. Every one of those bands are hype in their own way. When you're putting this together, how does this puzzle piece come together? There's definitely is it headliners first and then you build upon that afterwards? Essentially,
I kind of had ideas for support, and the ones we landed on, like Fulci.
I don't know either. We're talking about how do we pronounce these band names before we start.
Right. And I fucking love that band.
They are super hot. Italian. Yeah. Just killers.
Killing it. Yeah. And there were one of them. I was like, I want that band on this tour. But yeah, I mean, it mostly starts from the top. So Morbid ain't, it took a minute to have Morbid Angel tell me a time frame that works for him. And that's another thing, Summer Slaughter happens in the summer. Obviously, you have summer in the name. It has to happen in the summer. But with this one, I've done it in April, May, and then later in the year. So they were like, hey, we can do November, December. I'm like, all right, that's fine. So once we got them locked in, then it just went from there. Then I just started direct support, who's going to be in that slot below Morbid Angel. And it landed on Suffocation. And then we just built it from down there. And then Noel was the last piece to the puzzle. I was thinking of who do I put here? And then one night I'm laying in bed, just smoked a lot of fucking weed. And am I allowed to say that?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
All right. And I'm just laying there and on Instagram, and Noel, I'm pretty sure they were on tour at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a live video they posted in their story. And I've been working with that band for a couple of years now, but I saw a live, and I haven't seen them live in a bit. And I saw a live, video of them in their story. I was like, damn, they sound fucking great. I love it. It's dark. It's pissed. You know what I mean? It's very in your face. They have grind influence, death metal. It's all there. And I was just like, I want them to open it. So then I emailed them the next day, and Jamie was like, are you serious?
We're in.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I've heard great. The Vox&Hops review crew love Noel. They love them.
A great band. Young dudes, man. Mm-hmm. Very young.
This next generation. That's what we need, people.
Dude, it's insane.
Keep playing angry music. It could be a little deathcore if you guys want right now, but just please make sure that you have your own identity.
Yeah.
And craft your own sound. And take the time to be original.
Yeah, exactly. Dude. That's what I tell them. I'm like, there's a lot of bands these days, and you got to stand out some way or another, or you're just going to get mixed in, you're going to get lost in the sea of bands, and it's, even these days as an agent, going on 19 years, I've just been
19 years.
Yeah. I love finding new music. I'm always looking, anytime any of my friends text me links to a band I've never heard of or anything like that, I always listen, because you never know what you can find. And, definitely, I always look for bands that there's something that stands out about them. So my roster is pretty eclectic in a sense. I mean, it's all metal for the most part, but it's all different subgenres. You got death metal, black metal, metalcore, deathcore, grind, Noel. You got slam. So it's kind of all over the place. And then I got Psycho Stick, which is always fun to work. They're the best dudes ever.
Something that I love that you've done is something that other agents hypothetically would not have done, is that you booked outside of your roster.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of agents would have built their festival and say, hey, I'm going to get 15% out of all these guarantees. I'm going to lump together all my bands, and I'm just going to make some cash off these people. That's not what you did,
much.
Though.
I mean, no, and I don't really like doing that at all. There's sometimes some, the Aborted tour early next year with Ingested, Peeling Flesh and Stabbing, right? I book all 4 bands, but it was like, that's just how it came together. It was, me discussing with Sven and Ian and the guys and like who they wanted, and they wanted Ingested, and they're like, we want Stabbing. And then we had originally Entheos in the slot where Peeling Flesh was, but they ended up not being able to do it.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, and then at the same time, Peeling Flesh's tour was just crazy.
They're so hot right now. Unfucking believable.
Oh, it's nuts. And and then we just thought, but yeah, back to Devastation. Yeah, I don't, I hit up all agents all the time, when I'm putting together tours or whatever. Sometimes I'll send out an email asking, a blanket email asking for ideas, or I just hit up agents individually, more personal, and ask them. But I like to just, not just be all my bands.
It's smart. No, it's a very unselfish thing to do, because you're thinking about the fans and the brand of the festival more than your wallet.
Yes. And like, because the other thing is like, I mean, on the tour right now, like I don't book, I Am Morbid. I'm not their agent. They don't even have an agent here. So like the only band on the tour that I represent is Noel.
Wow.
That's it.
Which is which is crazy.
And then Liam, who works with me at TKO, books Uada, So yeah, I mean, I don't mind that, and we got, it's like, oh, that kind of, when people are like, well, that kind of sucks because you're not really making that much money off the tour. I'm like, well, I sell the tour merch. So that stuff usually sells really well, and that kind of makes up for it. So I don't really care either way. I mean, I don't really look at things. I don't know. I've had bands be like, hey, we can't do this tour. We're really sorry. Like, I know, we're not going to be making you money in that time frame. I'm like, listen, it's fine, dude. I'm like, it's fine. I'm not in this shit for the money.
It's the long tail of making money off bands.
Yeah, as long as I'm living comfortably, like, I'm fine. I mean, me and my wife live in a, like, almost 800 square foot apartment in Dallas with our dog. This is fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Happiness is in your mind.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I'm happy with the tour though.
It's super sick. So originally it was supposed to be Morbid Angel, and then we had to swap out there. So that's stress. I want to feel the stress. What went through your mind when you open up that email or that phone call? At what point were you like? At what point were you like, this tour's done? Was there ever that thought, or were you immediately in the problem-solving mode?
Well, I was in the problem. So at first, I got presented, there was an issue, and we're trying to solve the issue, right? And it has nothing to do with the tour. It has nothing to do with me or really anyone. Like, it's like, I wish I could just say the reason, but I'm not going to disclose that because it's not my place. And maybe one day Morbid Angel will say it. But I will say it wasn't anyone's like fault or anything, right? It was just an internal issue, and they had to stay home. But yeah, when I first, got the call, there was a way that we could have fixed, help, maybe kept them on the tour or whatever. I don't know. I hate not being able to say what it is. And it didn't work out. And then ultimately they dropped. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. What the fuck do I do? And I'm just sitting here like, okay, I could ask Suffocation to headline, right?
That would have been the easiest solution.
For sure. And like, I co-book Morbid Angel with Dan DeVita, works at TKO. So I obviously call him first. And he's like, just go ask agents, managers, just hit up everyone and just see if there's somebody. And I'm like, all right. And after that call, I'm pretty sure I just like sat here and I was like, I'm going to hit up David Vincent's wife, Suzanne. She like pretty much manages I Am Morbid in a sense. And I'm just going to ask her. And yeah, so I did. And she called David Vincent, who's currently in Europe, like still right now on November 11th. Keep in mind, he doesn't fly back to the 13th. He jumps on the tour. Oh no, he flies back today, I think. And then he jumps on the tour on Friday. From Europe though, you know what I mean? He's not. So I I hit her up, and it was a few day process because, we're talking details. I have to hit up all the promoters. I got to present them the idea. How do they feel about it? I got to essentially
resell the package again.
Yeah, because it's the headliner. So it's like, it's different when a support band drops. You could switch them out or just go on with the tour without them, and you have one less band on the tour. But I had hit up all
production managers' dreams, but
oh yeah. And I hit up, all 25 promoters, and the majority were all like, okay, we believe this can work. And there was a few, like maybe 5 or 4 that were not really feeling confident in it. And I kind of had to talk them into it and also rework the deal as well. And then essentially go back to I Am Morbid and be like, all right, this is what we can offer you.
Okay. Because it wasn't just a straight flip-flop, because certain promoters wouldn't put up the same amount of money for the bands, depending. Exactly.
Yeah, like I think I had to rework like 4 or 5 deals maybe. But
so you could like rework and say, like, for these shows you're getting this amount, but for these shows you're getting this amount, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. And I just offered them a flat rate across the board,
which is an average of that.
Yeah, and they were like, okay, we can do that. So I was like, listen, you don't have to hire a tour manager. I have a tour manager, and that's Bryce Lucian.
Shout out to Bryce. I love Bryce. I met him on Devastation on the Nation.
That's right. Yeah, he's fucking. Oh yeah, because he TM'd that second half of the tour.
And I think he was band was playing. That's where I met Little Bryce. Little Bryce was playing drums. Little Bryce, he's not a Little Bryce. I'm sorry.
In Seeker.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. Because our year was Cryptopsy, Decrepit Birth, Visceral Disgorge, Seeker, Zenith Passage, Rivers of Nile.
Rivers of Nile was on it. Yeah.
I feel like that's and I'm forgetting Gloom.
Oh yeah, Gloom was on it opening. That's right. Yeah, so like, I told Iron One, I'm like, listen, you don't got to pay for a TM. There's the guy, and the tour pays for the TM, and I was like, listen, and, there was a few things like David was like, man, I want to get her a backdrop, but it's over in Europe, and I can't get there myself to go get it. I'm going to have to figure out someone to go get it and ship it to the U.S. And I was just like, listen, I'll just buy you a backdrop.
Ooh, oh, hell yeah.
I was like, listen, you're saving the day, so I'm going to I'm going to help you out as much as I possibly can. And and he was like, he was very thankful for it. David and his wife fucking rule. I mean, the whole band, very nice people. But David is great. I mean, for him and the other guys, thankfully the other guys live here too, right? There's no one from Europe. Thankfully they were all available.
It's almost like because I know like Ultimus just finished a run in Europe, which is I imagine why David's still over there.
Yeah, I think he flies home today.
I don't know if he's hanging out in Portugal with Rune, and probably. And it's awesome. It's cool. It's the easiest flop in the history of touring.
People are like hitting me up, and they're like, "Dude, do you just?" I hate to say it like this. This is no disrespect to Morbid Angel at all, but it was just like you switched out Morbid Angel for Morbid Angel. I'm like, yeah. I mean, essentially, in a sense, it's not. I realize it's not Morbid Angel. Like, I get it.
It is David Vincent's and Pete's era of
Morbid Angel. That's what it is, and I think it's very exciting now. I mean, I think seeing them play those first 4 albums, not all 4, not all those songs, but the hits from all 4 is going to be very special to see because this band has never toured the States.
I know. That's what I was about to say. Yeah. You're like, hypothetically looking back 2-3 years from now, you will have put them on the U.S. map, so to say. I Am Morbid up on like a pedestal as a headlining act, which is something they might not have been able to pitch at that scale because Devastation is big. The rooms are big.
Yeah, it's going to all really great rooms, and which I was very happy about. Obviously, when I was booking, I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
There's no that New Hampshire there that we did there.
No, geez, and that was the first day of that tour.
It was.
I'll never forget too. I was like, Flo already hates
me. Where are my towels, DeFonce?
I literally just showed up. I'm trying to get everything organized. He's like, come over here. I'm like, oh, fuck.
He's much more chill now. But
no, I know. But we became friends on that tour. Everything was great.
We all became friends on that tour. But
yeah, no, we all did. Yeah, we had a fucking blast. Flo making his flow juice.
Flow juice. He doesn't do that anymore. We don't let him. But
we don't let him.
He drinks Coors Light and he loves it.
There we go.
Another thing with the flop, and you mentioned it before, so I wrote it down and circled it over here, is merchandise. Had you have already printed merchandise? Because there's all the names on the back there.
Yes. Thankfully, shirts were not. Shirts didn't go into production until the 7th. So on Thursday, they went into production. So it was perfect. The pins were already made. But that's it. Yeah, it was just the pins that were made. But those just say Devastation on the Nation. It's just a logo, 3 different colors, limited. Yeah. And then, I mean, posters are easy to get printed fast.
Yeah, that's not an issue.
So, I didn't put that order in until last, Wednesday.
Perfect. Look at that. Look at you being smart and not being in advance. Your procrastination paid off, DeFonce. The internet had a very positive reaction to the lineup switch up, which is I learned about it when I was on tour with Carnifex, and I was sort of pooling the flop in the bus with everyone, and people were on the fence, and the internet was very, very stoked. You did a great job. They think you saved the day.
I think I did. I mean, I definitely, obviously feel really good about it. I mean, there was people that were indifferent about it or not about it. And it's I guess I can understand that. I don't know. I guess I'm just very open-minded when it comes. I believe I'm very open-minded when it comes to music because I listen to a lot of different types of music, but more so in the rock and metal world, all the subgenres and shit. But, But yeah, I mean, for the most, there were some people that just weren't about it, and that's fine. To each their own.
We can't make everyone happy.
No, and I love current Morbid Angel. I love all the Morbid records, and the ones with Steve Tucker are fucking great albums. But yeah, it was overall really good fucking response.
Well, I hope that Morbid Angel team, crew members are okay and they get through what they're going through right now, and that they come back and tour the States again, because there's a bunch of fans that were looking forward to seeing them.
Yes, and there's talks of a tour next year, not Morbid Angel headlining, Morbid Angel supporting another larger band, and that we're hoping the offer comes through. So then everyone will be able to see them again next year. But I mean, even when I called their manager, he was accepting about it. I thought he was not going to be accepting about the replacement, but there's nothing.
Would they have had a say in it?
No.
You were just being respectful.
But it's an awkward thing. It's an awkward situation because I'm their agent.
Yes. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if there was 2 versions of Cryptopsy or something, right?
Well, not yet, but
So I was kind of nervous when I called their manager, but he was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. That makes sense." I was like, "Okay, good."
I did
just because at the time I'm still stressed. We haven't announced it yet, obviously, right? And I'm just stressed, and I'm like, I don't want to argue. Please, just be okay with it. And he was, and he was, and it was great.
Because the absolute worst case situation, I'm just talking real life fact here, is what they would have dropped you and gone somewhere else.
Maybe
Would have been the worst case situation there.
Yeah, and I would have let them do it because I need to save the tour.
Exactly.
I got 5 other bands who have,
visas. Visas coming from Europe, coming over.
Falsey, for example, visas. All these bands ordered merch already, and they're getting way more merch than I'm getting for Devastation official merch. You know what I mean? Because we only got 2 shirts, so it's not like I have to order a shit ton of product. These bands are ordering thousands of shirts, so they got to do that much more in advance than I do. And it was one of those, if Morbid wanted to drop me, I would be like, all right, well, I'm trying not to fuck these bands over.
Then the cookies,
yeah. So I think, but it worked out. Overall, everything, I'm really happy with it.
It's exciting. By the time this episode will come out, the tour will already be a week into the tour. You'll see the tour numbers. You know what's going on. You can understand what's going on for the rest of the shows. Shows seem to be selling really well. I imagine there will be some sellouts, so grab your tickets if you haven't yet, people. Go to voxandhops.com/devastation. Grab those tickets. I presenting sponsor. I feel good about myself. My job, what I did. What did I do? Why am I doing this?
What did you do, Matt?
Exactly. I made beers. Once again, I didn't make beers. I found amazing metal breweries located around the United States to collaborate with me and Devastation on the Nation. 5 in total: Little Cottage Brewing in Atlanta, Oddwood Brewing in Austin, Texas, Vector Brewing in Dallas, Texas. Shout out to Thomas. He's a really, really cool guy. Really cool guy. And Vector rules. Ghost Town Brewing in San Francisco. Love Ghost Town. Shout out to Ryan. And Miskatonic Brewing in Chicago. Shout out to Mick Dempsey. I love you. Very, very stoked to be creating more collabs. Every year I'm like, I'm not making any more collabs. This is it. It's over. And then I always end up making more collabs. I've released probably 15 this year to 20. I can't remember. But... metal brew, this is a thing where people already ordered labels, so some of these labels will still have Morbid Angel's logo on it, but that's okay. We're just going to live with it. A lot of these beers are going to be available at the shows, so crush them, people. Most of them are Pilsners, because when you're at a metal show, you just want to crush Pilsners because it's just so goddamn delicious. So make sure to pick up a bunch of them so that breweries in the future are excited to collaborate and get their beers into venues, because it's not a standard process and it's actually not easy for the brewers to do that, such as Vector had to go and create this whole online purchase system, which they're definitely not a part of an account. Exactly. They tend to just, they're a small brewery. They tend to just sell stuff out of the brewery and do it like that. So they're very eager to do that. And venues, it's a different thing. They're selling something that they're not standardly holding. So show the venues that you want good beers, interesting beers, purchase them, sell it out, make it exciting so that the next time around I pitched them with an idea, they're going to say yes.
Make it easier for more collabs to happen and more venues to bring in those collab, beers.
I think it's a special, unique thing. People are going to buy beers anyways. It may as well be something special. You can even keep it as a keepsake if it's something that interests you, to keep the can to bring it home as a souvenir. The labels are all super sick because the artwork, that's the basis of a good label, right? Is a good artwork. Oh yeah. Good artwork. Kaylin's artwork is just incredible. And I sent that when I did the original pitch, the artwork with it in my pitch, and everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. On a beer can, I could totally do that. So yes, I think it's just goddamn awesome. Very, very excited to be teaming up with you again, doing this, sponsoring this tour. I am excited for the future. I had a chat with Scott from Carnifex before my tour that I just wrapped up, and he mentioned, I'm not sure if I left it in the audio version of the podcast, but it's definitely in the video section, where he's always thinking about the next tour. Is that something that you're at? Are you already thinking about Devastation on the Nation, the future of it? What's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, I have some ideas, but yeah, I'm always thinking about it. It's one of the, but I'm not trying to stress over it in a sense, but yeah, I have a few ideas for headliners next year. So we'll see what happens. I feel good about it. I feel like it's going to happen again next year.
I can see the excitement of it happening. I'm seeing those, 60% sold. There's going to be walk up, and as it gets closer and closer, the hype of the tour, the social media. Is that something that happened? Do you have a social media person on the tour? Is that something you've thought about?
I've had in the past, but they were in a band.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, shout out to Vance.
Yeah. Yes, Vance. But this year, no. Because essentially at first I was trying to figure out who Bryce, the tour manager, can ride with, and Morbid didn't have room. So then I'm going down the list. Suffocation didn't have room. I'm trying to figure it out. So if I want to have a media person on the tour that's not already going to be with one of the bands, I need to also find them a spot to ride.
Hey,
so it's a lot
do you
of
want
work.
A stranger on your bandwagon?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So no, unfortunately, I won't have a media person on it. I'm hoping there'll be a lot of good photographers hitting up the shows.
There you go. I was about to say that. If you are, make sure you tag Devastation on the Nation. Yeah. Send them your stories. DeFonce is going to share those.
Yeah, I'll credit you. Don't worry.
Photographers that are at the shows, take pictures. Send them to DeFonce via Instagram, and he'll get them up there and share these experiences that everyone's having. This amazing tour that's taken just across the United States. It's a huge tour.
I'm bummed it's not going to Canada. There was a passport issue in Morbid's camp.
I wasn't going to bring it up, and you did,
That's
so
fine.
I'm going to talk about it.
Well, I mean,
now,
you're
don't
Canadian,
you wish?
so we have to talk about it.
and a lot of people write about that, like, why no Canada? Why no? I knew that it was because of a passport issue.
You knew that already.
In someone's camp, but now you could have. Do you wish? And I said that when I found it. Don't you wish you could have booked all across Canada too?
Fuck yes, I love Canada. Come on now. I mean, like
Alberta's on fire. That's
the other thing. Yeah, Calgary and Edmonton's on fire, man, and like. I'm going to try to, if it all comes together next year, like we get a headliner and it's coming together and that headliner can get into fucking Canada, which I'll make sure before confirming them. I'm really going to attempt to bring it up to Alberta.
Yeah, because it was insane on the Carnifex ride.
Yeah. Because usually we've done Vancouver and Montreal, Toronto, Quebec City.
Exactly. The standard pop-ups. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't, a lot of people are like, why is it coming to Alberta or Winnipeg and stuff? I'm like, yeah. You see the states below you? They suck. Besides Minneapolis.
I was about to say that. I was literally going to say that.
Yeah.
Because that's right underneath Winnipeg. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's easy.
St. Paul was cool too.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both cities, the twins. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And it's hard. It's, it depends. We'll see what happens. But definitely Canada. Next one and so on. I'm never doing this again without Canada unless the headliner is just fucking big and it's my best option. Right. Yeah. Then I'll sacrifice it, I guess. But I did get a lot of hate about it and I'm like, I feel bad. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
It's not my fault, but
my hands are tied. What can I do?
The, something that Summer Slaughter did when they were popping and they were really working was bringing the tour elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Has that something that ever crossed your mind? Doing a European version, an Australian version, or with Somper Song, Slam Man Booking doing an Asian version?
Asia. I never brought it up to Gina. I got to bring it up.
I want 10%, but
10% plus Cryptopsy on it.
Oh, that's cool. I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do some shit like. I should try. Yeah, So I've always.
The flights are what's so expensive. Europe. You'd have to do if you're going to do Asia, and Gina would probably agree, is maybe it'd have to be like a 2-band package type thing.
Yeah, maybe 3 at most.
Because the flights are just exorbitantly expensive.
It's a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, same with Australia too. I mean, Jesus. Europe, I want to do. So maybe next year I'll see what I can make happen.
Heck yeah, that'd be super cool.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, I just gotta have someone from the agency that books in Europe, Ian, do it, or someone else. We'll see.
There you go. Aborted or hot. That would make sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
An alumni tour.
Yeah, and just do it in Europe.
That would be cool. An alumni tour.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Past bands. Yeah.
Right. That's a good idea.
You have to come.
We got to do that. Yeah. I mean, I'll come over. Let's do Aborted and Cryptopsy.
I'm down.
A couple others.
We've done it before. I'll do it again.
More. Yeah, fuck it.
Dan, thank you so much for hanging out with me. We're going to keep talking, but not with people listening. Go get your tickets, people. Devastation on the Nation. It's happening right now. It's running all the way to Devastation. It's running all the way to Devastation. It's running all the way to December 14th, wrapping up in Florida, starting in Florida, making its whole way around, ending in Florida. It's just going to be, it's a rockin' tour. You don't want to miss it. Come party, go drink those beers.
Yes.
There's still
buy
time.
all those beers.
And enjoy them and become fans of those breweries because they're metal, they make great beer, and they're ran by amazing humans.
They are. No, it's fucking awesome. Thank you to those breweries for doing this.
Yes. Cheers to you. And go get your tickets, people. Vox&Hops.com/devastation. Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Cheers.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. Man, this was an awesome hang. I love hanging out with DeFonce. I wish I got to hang out with him again. I wish we could do Devastation on the Nation again and have DeFonce out on the tour like we did back in 2017. That was such a blast, and I'd love to do that again. People, grab your tickets for the show. You do not want to miss it. It's happening right now. Devastation on the Nation, featuring I Am Morbid, Suffocation, Uada, Mortiferum, Fulci, and Noel is happening right now. Go grab your tickets. Go enjoy yourselves. Crush those beers. I'd like to give an extra shout out to all of the people involved in the Devastation on the Nation brews. So massive, massive cheers and a huge thank you to Will from Little Cottage and the rest of that crew. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Huge shout out to Corey from Oddwood Brewing and Huge shout out to Thomas from Vector. Massive props to Ryan from Ghost Town Brewing. And a huge cheers to Josh and Mick from Miskatonic Brewing. And I have an extra thing that confirmed itself after I recorded this episode. I'm very stoked to let you all know that Kuma's Corner in Chicago is going to be having a Devastation on the Nation burger. So huge props to Nick Miller for making that happen. Beyond stoked. I wish I could be at all these shows, but sadly I can't, so you have to be there for me. Vox and Hops heads, go to Devastation on the Nation, crush these beers, have fun, get in the pit, because this tour rules. Massive thanks to Daniel DeFonce for once again trusting me and letting me present Devastation on the Nation. Dude, you rule, and I can't wait to hang out with you again.
The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a killer rest of the week. I will be back next week with another episode on Thursday. But until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.